Zuko here. If you don't know, my name is Jess, but I go by Zimmy on the internet because one time I was 15. And it is time for my September monthly reading wrap up. So these are all of the books that I have read in the month of September. I started the month off by reading The Emerald City of Oz by L. Frank Baum. This is the 6th, I think, book in the Oz series. I don't really remember what happened in these books. They are all starting to run together, which is fine. They are a children's series, like I'm not mad about it. I know that in this one, Dorothy's parents are sent to Oz because they are going to lose the farm. That's really all I can... Oh, I'm burping. That's really all I can tell you about this book. I mean, I like them. I think they're fun. They're good, mindless reading, and I was really struggling with audio and physically reading at the beginning of the month, so I listened to this, and it was fun. Then I read Fell of the Dark by Caleb Robrig. This follows a 16-year-old boy who lives in a city that has a vampire problem and a strong magical presence, and he finds out that he is the, chosen one to a ancient vampire prophecy. And, I mean, there was some really good queer vampire shenanigans in these books. This book, there's only one. But I loved that. I feel like we don't get any queer vampire shenanigans. So I was really happy and I was excited about this. And honestly, it was a good, fun book full of friendship and vampires and queer everything. I really enjoyed reading this book, even though it took me a solid month and a half to get through it, which was so sad. And then I binge read most of it in one night. But I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars because I want to see nothing but queer vampires from now on. If your vampire's straight, get it out of my face. Don't want it, keep it to yourself. You can't tell me you live for hundreds of years, thousands of years, decades at least, and you're like, I'm strictly straight. Nah, get away from me. Get that away from me. Queer vampires, 5 out of 5. Okay, then we get to the fun part, which is that I started, obviously, this endeavor by reading Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, the first book in the Grisha trilogy. I like this book. I thought it was fun. If you don't know, this book follows a girl named Alina who finds out that she might have the ability to control light in a world where there is a big gash of darkness that holds monsters in it, that is separating the mainland of this one country from its coast, which is affecting trade and everything else. So her power could be detrimental to the survival of this country. This is also becoming a Netflix series. I liked this book. I have a whole review of the trilogy on my channel, which I will link somewhere. Up there, I don't know where. But I liked this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, of course, I read Siege and Storm, the second book in the Grisha trilogy, also by Leigh Bardugo, obviously. This book, follows the events of that one, so I can't really tell you what happens in this book. But I think this was probably the better book out of the trilogy, the most exciting. It introduces a very wonderful character, Nikolai, who I loved, and I think everyone loved, and I think everyone should love. But this was full of a lot of the unnecessary love teenage drama stuff, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. But I did really like reading this book. I think I gave this also 4 out of 5 stars. Of course, after that, I read Ruin and Rising, the third and final book in the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I liked this book. I thought this was a satisfying ending to Alina and Mal and the Darklings stories. I thought that this did a good job. I didn't think it struggled. I think a lot of trilogies have that struggle to find how they're going to end in a way that is satisfying and doesn't feel like it's really fast and without build-up. And I think this book did that really well. My only complaint, my biggest complaint about the trilogy was all of the unnecessary teenage romance drama that I didn't feel needed to be there. But I thought this was a very solid conclusion, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, which rounded up the series to be 4 out of 5 stars. Now, here's the thing about rating that series 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I fucking read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, also by Leigh Bardugo, set in the same universe as the original Grisha trilogy. These books were written, I'm putting one down, these books were written so incredibly well, and you could just see the improvement in Leigh Bardugo's writing style, which I didn't think was bad to begin with, but the improvement, the voices of the characters, everything in these books was so good. It's making me really consider rating those a 3-star just to really show the impact of an actual like 5-star book. Like these in comparison made these look like 3-star reads. I can't even begin to explain how much I loved these books. I just finished this one today. These books are gorgeous. Also, in case you didn't know, the hardbacks, the sprayed edges, I love them. These are beautiful books. These books, if you haven't heard about them, are about 6 criminals from a very sketchy part of the island that they live on who are sent on an impossible heist. And this is told in the perspective of all of them, and they're all great. Each one has their own voice. I thought that the story was great. Everyone was so well written. Everything was so well written. The plot felt smart in ways that I would never be able to write. There's a hair floating by my face. But I just, I loved all of the characters in these. And I'm so sad that it's over for now, because I believe Leigh Bardugo said in the future she plans on writing a 3rd. The future can't come fast enough, and I don't even mean because this year was like shitty garbage nonsense, but like I want a 3rd book so bad. I do plan on reading King of Scars. I have it there. I don't know when I'm gonna do that. I've also started reading The Language of Thorns, but I've only made it like a story and a half in, because I'm not a fan of short story collections. I know everyone loves the like short story world building kind of stuff that is a companion to a series. Like, I know there was Tales of the Peculiar from the Ransom Riggs Peculiar Children series. And I think there's going to be the Tales of the Hinterland book to go with the Hazelwood series. I didn't like either of those series anyway, so I wasn't into those books. But I also just don't like short stories. So I'll finish The Language of Thorns eventually. I also have The Lives of Saints on its way. Should be here by the end of the week. I don't know when I'm going to get around to reading that, but I do want to read King of Scars soon, but maybe I'm waiting until the sequel comes out in the spring. But anyway, 2 5-star books. I'm so in love with these. I get it now. I get all the hype. Usually I feel like books with a lot of hype, I end up going in expecting more than I get out of it. Not with these. These books were exactly worth all of the hype that they've been getting. I was so happy. I just love them so much. I cried, and I didn't cry because I was sad. I cried because I was so happy. I'm a notorious happy crier also. Just at the ending of the books when things, you know, it's a book, you know, things go right at the end after the climax. And those scenes always really get me. Same with scenes of friendship. Dang. I love these books. I super recommend them. 5 out of 5 stars. And yeah, that is everything that I read in the month of September. Hope you all enjoyed this. I will see you whenever I do my next video. Also, my next video is coming out tomorrow, and it is going to be my October TBR, which has kind of grown since I filmed that video. But I have a whole pile there of like my creepy crawly horror books, because I don't want to like super limit myself, but the next video is the books that I started out with, where I'm like, I want to read these this month. And I do want to read those this month. I just have given myself all of my horror novels to read this month instead. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. I will see you whenever I do my next video.